Hello. Hi everyone. Thank you for joining. Can you give me a little wave if you can hear me okay? Oh, here. Cool. Okay. And Jen. Just going to wait until Jen joins. Accept. Okay. Hi. Right. I've accepted everybody. Hi Jen.
Hi.
Hello. Just waiting. Oh, that's, and Lucy, I have accepted. Oh, sorry, for whatever reason, it does not seem to want to accept Lucy. Bear with me. Oh, is that your dog I can hear in the background?
Yeah, I'm so
Oh,
sorry. We have a guide dog puppy,
oh, bless
and
you.
he's just yeah, he's a bit of a teenager at the moment, and he started barking a lot.
Right,
And
that's okay.
yeah, I'm really, really sorry. So he might
Oh,
disturb us a few times.
that's fine because I have two super barky dogs as well, so that's
Okay.
absolutely fine. We'll all understand. Hi, Lucy.
I
Thank
was
you
like
very much for
staring at the camera,
joining.
like you'll just get
I
my face.
know kept
Please.
saying like accept and I was pressing, but we're here anyway. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining me, and thank you to everybody else who has tuned in. Hopefully this will give you all a little break from this miserable grey spring that we are having right now. And these two books are the perfect antidote. I have read both of these this week, and it has been we've all got
Thanks to
them.
you.
Nothing like a bit of publicity. So these have been the perfect antidote to this miserable start to spring, I have to say. So I'm going to start, just to let everyone know how it's going to go, I'm going to start with some kind of general questions for both of you, and then I'll delve a little bit into each of your books individually, and then there will be time for a Q&A at the end. I believe that, yeah, so there is a little question box down the bottom of the live. So if you do have any questions, please pop them in there, and I will try and ask as many as I can at the end. We should have about 10-15 minutes for questions. And then I believe there may also be some giveaway stuff going on, but I think that will be with Head of Zeus and Aria, and they'll be doing that afterwards. So shall we get straight into it?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yes. Cool, cool. So first of all, I wanted to ask you both, how would you categorize your novels? So obviously they do both have quite a strong romance in there. Is that the kind of area you'd put them in, or what would you call them?
Yeah,
I'll start with Jen,
do you want to
because you're top.
go? Yeah, I'd probably call mine romance,
Mhm.
or rom-com.
Yeah.
I think it's quite, I find these genres actually really difficult, and I did when I was writing and wondering about pitching to publishers and to agents, and I was thinking, exactly what category does it fit in, which probably sounds silly, but when it's not a romance in the Mills and Boon sense of the word, it's yeah. Or
Tame.
maybe I'd call it feel good. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I think all of those would work. Yep. So Lucy, how about you?
I kind of feel the same. I feel like I never feel like my books kind of, I say my, but I don't feel like I always write them all with any intention of them fitting in a certain category. They just kind of, you just write them. And then, but I definitely, I guess, feel like this one has a bit more of a rom-com, laugh out loud thing that well, I hope that it comes across. But yeah, romance, and definitely mine's always happy ending or happiness and like feel good, like you said, Jen, because I like writing happy stories. So yeah.
Well, and that leads me into my next question, which is why did you choose to go for the kind of feel-good romance novels? So Lucy, you might as well carry on.
And I think again, that is just like, I think all my stories, I do feel like it just comes certain times of my life. I feel like I just end up wanting to write and like pouring everything into a story. And so they all have kind of special meanings to me, like each book. And I'm not like lover of scary, or like I can't watch anything scary or anything sad. Like I'm absolutely terrible, and I'm even worse now that I've had a baby. Like I cry at everything, so it's like I don't want to watch anything sad, so I can't do gory thrillers, cry, anything like that. So I think I was always going to write the cute, cozy kind of, happy books. So that's my favorite to read. So yeah.
Destined for it. Love it. And Jen?
Well, it is what I read. I did used to read thrillers, and then I moved onto a canal boat and lived by myself. And I found the thrillers too scary, so I started reading more romance, feel-good books. But mine actually, mine started out as a dating memoir, because I did internet dating for 13 years until I met my husband. And people were always saying, "Oh," I used to tell my friends in the pub about my dates, because some of them were really hilarious. And they used to say, "Oh, you should write a book, you should write a book." So I did write a dating memoir, but nobody was really interested in a memoir by somebody who wasn't famous. And somebody said to me, "You should rewrite it as fiction." So I rewrote it as fiction, but then most of the original bits got dropped. So there's virtually nothing in there apart from my husband does collect board games, and that's about the only sort of similarity. That's the only thing that lasted.
Oh, I love it. I thought we were getting an insight into all of your dating history there with the book. Sorry, this is slightly off topic, but now that you've said that, I need to know what the worst online dating experience was, please.
The worst one was probably that I went on a date with a guy, and it was I was already in my sort of mid-40s, and he said, do you want children? And I said, well, I kind of feel like a ship sailed for me, really, so no, not at this moment in time. And he went on and on and on about how a woman had had a baby in her late 50s in Italy, and it wasn't too late, and then told me that I was unnatural for not wanting to be a mum, which was really gutting, because until I was about 42, I was desperate to be a mum. So that was all very traumatic, and I sort of left as soon as I could leave. But about 2 months later, I got contacted by somebody, and we got chatting online, and I went to meet him in a completely different town, and he had a completely different job on his profile, and it was the same guy. So that was probably the weirdest one, and I just sort of I met him on Leeds station, and I just legged it home. Like I just said, we're not going on another date, not a chance. But it made me feel really it was a bit stalkery, it was a bit scary. It's funny now, but at the time I didn't think it was funny. I thought it was a bit alarming.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, sorry, that's a bit serious.
Oh, bless you. I asked.
Yeah.
Well, let's get back to the cheerful book stuff in that case. So I think a lot of readers are always quite curious whether you have a specific writing routine or a schedule. So Lucy, I'll start with you.
I used to. So when I first started writing books, I was living in America, and I kind of had a lot more time to just sit and write, and always had like part-time jobs and things. And then when I moved back to England, I was working full-time as a teacher, teaching assistant. So I would like wake up at 5 o'clock every morning, because I'm very much like a early bird. She says, not now when I have to wake up. I'm like,
yeah, when you don't get a choice.
But I used to like wake myself up at 5 o'clock and try and get like writing in before work, because I felt like I was my most creative in the mornings. So that was the closest I had to kind of having a schedule where I'd be like, right this time, try and get as many words done. And then obviously being a teaching assistant, so through the holidays, I'd just try and write as much as I could and spend the days, like sometimes you'd be sat at your laptop and you'd be like, oh, that's like you put in a 9-hour work day, because you just like, you're telling yourself to do it. And sometimes as well, when you're just enjoying it, it's just really nice to be able to have that time. This book was very different, because I'd finished the majority of it, but then I was trying to get the ending when I was pregnant. So my brain was like away with the fairy. So it was very like hard to sit down and to like concentrate. And then especially through the edits and like the proofreading and things. And I think there was no sort of schedule. It was just like, if you feel good, do it. If you like, grab those times where you like, right, just get it done and like, enjoy it. I've always enjoyed it, but just, yeah. So there was no kind of set schedule for that. And now there's no schedule for when my little boy sleeps. He sleeps on me during the day, so he likes his little contact nap. So now I'm usually like on Samsung Notes, like trying to write little stories, or like trying to write like in a little notebook at the side. So so I don't really have a schedule at the moment.
No, I bet. I'm honestly in awe of anyone who can get anything done, A, whilst pregnant, and B, with a young baby or toddler. Like, hats off to you. So, Jen, any specific routine for you? Oh, can you hear me?
You cut out for a
Oh,
minute.
sorry. I was just asking if you have any specific writing routine at all.
So mine's very similar. So I'm also at my best really early in the morning. So I probably get up about 5:30, 6 o'clock. And I used to get up about that time and pretty much work till about 1 o'clock and get a real solid amount done. And then my husband and I became puppy raisers for guide dogs, and our puppy arrived age 8 weeks, and I suspect very much like a baby, he sort of tipped our schedule completely on its head. And I've just finished writing a book now, and I was literally writing with him sort of asleep on my knee, so I can really relate to the whole to what you've been doing, Lucy. I really
that
can.
makes me smile, Jen, because my sister's a dog mum, but like dog mum through and through. And half the time, if I say something about my little boy, she's like, "Yes, Benny did this," and Ben, like, it's like literally she's like baby and then dog. It's like, Benny did this today, like, and it will go back and forth, and she's like, "It's like having a baby," and I'm like, I know.
Yeah. I think puppies get independent a little bit quicker though, so
Yes.
yeah.
Well, Benny's not independent. Benny likes his like attention, so anytime she tries to do something, he's just there, like ready to go out and play and stuff. So I completely understand.
As somebody who has both, I quite often get the names mixed up. So if I'm telling off the dog, I'll end up using the child's name, etc. So I don't recommend having all of them. That's all I'm going to say. So on to the juicy stuff. Which celebrities would you have for your romantic leads if you could dream cast? Oh, Lucy, you look like you already know the answer, so let's go straight with you.
I'm sorry. I just get dead excited because anytime that question pops up, I'm just like, Zachary Levi. So, but more so, it was One Snowy Week in Spring Hollow, which is not my superhero now.
Right.
I've like always just prayed, like, can somebody please make it a movie so Zachary Levi can star in it, because that was the person I had in my head when writing it, because I love him. If he wants to play the lead in this one, like the anti-wedding party, he can do. He can just play the lead in all my books.
Okay.
But yeah, Zachary Levi. Just
for the man. And what about for Andy?
Andy, I don't know. I always get stuck for like I love Hilary Duff.
Okay.
So I think I could see her being pretty much, I think she could play. And I think I did have her on my Pinterest board but she might have been either Charlie or Alex, I'm not sure. But she could do that. She could be anything, because I love her as well.
Love it. That was easy. Now, Jen, you looked like that was a tougher question for you.
Yeah, that's a really tough question. Because I think you might have to dye her hair, but because in my book Jo has red hair, but I really like the actress from The Dry.
Oh yes,
but I don't know her name, but she's
really, she was in Doctor Who, the little cutesy.
She's got a quirky and
I know who you mean. Okay, and what about Raz? Is that how we pronounce it? Raz. Okay.
Raz.
I'm trying to think of someone with a strong Romanian nose.
Quirky enough actors to play him.
Somebody, it's a tough one.
Really.
All right. If it comes to you halfway through the call, then just cut it. Basically.
Yeah, I will.
So, you have, in both of the books, you've got some quite strong female friendships running through them as well. So how important was that to you to represent that? Jen, if you want to go first.
Yeah, really important, actually. Kate is the sort of female friend, and I've just actually finished writing novel number 4, and she's the main character. And I always had in my head that she was going to be the best friend in the books, and she's a bit like always the bridesmaid, never the bride, but that in the end she would become the bride.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
that. So she's going to get
yeah.
her own turn.
So she gets
Okay.
her own romance.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just to confirm, this is book 2 at the moment?
This is book 2. Yeah.
Okay. So there's going to be another one in between before we get to Kate's story.
There is, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Very exciting. And Lucy, how about
No,
you?
same for me. I'm very, very lucky. So I have a twin sister and I have a little sister, and even my brother. We're all very, very close. But like with that female and like with my sisters, I just love them to pieces. So I've always tended, there's quite a few sisters in my stories, but then even when it's like best friends, it's like they're like sisters, and I just love that bond, and just when you know each other so well. And it's just that as well, that just empowering like female friendships, and just having positive, you know, where females are lifting each other up and supporting each other and stuff. So that, yeah, that's really important. And I love writing it. It makes me happy writing them.
Yeah, it made me happy reading them. I loved the bond between her and Alex. I thought it was just perfect. So loved that. Well, this might you might have already answered it, but favorite side characters, Jen, is it Kate or?
Yeah, it is probably Kate, but I also like Mr. B, who's the elderly Polish man who pops up in the little board game cafe, and then he's in this one, and he's going to pop up in the others as well. So yeah,
Yes,
I don't know where he came from, but I really like him.
He's a sweetheart. I love a golden oldie in a book. I really do.
Yeah.
There's just something different there. Lucy, any favourite side?
Well, Alex and Charlie, I love Alex and Charlie, but I have to say, like, writing Nonna Roberta was really fun as well, just because obviously the Italian side of things. And so anytime I get to write Italian, especially like grandparents, because my grandparents were Italian, so it's like just like those little things that just make me smile, how she has so much energy. And when I go to Italy and spend time with my family, sometimes you like watching them walk up 1,000 steps and I'm going, how are you not tired? And we're panting at the bottom of the stairs going, seriously? So yeah, so she has like a little special place in my heart too.
Yes, she is amazing. I want her for my own, basically. And pretty much 80% of your questions are about Italy, so I hope you don't mind talking about that endlessly. So last one, which is kind of a generic one for you both, just because I'm always being nosy. Favorite author and favorite book of all time, if you could choose one, or you can have a couple if it's too hard to choose. Jen?
Favorite author, probably Maeve Binchy and Rosamund Pilcher, so I have to choose 2.
Okay, that's fine.
Closely followed by Jojo Moyes, I have to say. And favorite book is Winter Solstice by Rosamund Pilcher.
That was good. Well done. Usually it takes me about 5 hours to try and narrow it down in my head, so very impressed. And Lucy?
I love Lindsay Kelk. Lindsay Kelk is like a just must buy, like a what's when you
auto
say like
buy.
Auto buy. Thank you.
Yes,
just everything. I have so many. I love Rebecca Raisin and Maxine Maury. Like I love their stories and their books. And I find it really hard to write to choose a favorite book. A long time ago, like I love On the Road by Jack Kerouac, but that's completely like not rom-com and romance, but that's like something that inspired me to write. And there's also an author called Kelly Sharp, my twin sister, and she wrote a book. So everybody should check that out because that's awesome, and she's just brilliant, and I love her writing as well. So
I love the way you support each other. Is that also a kind of romance rom-com type of book?
No, it is a children's book. I have it here. It's a children's book.
I love it.
But no, she's just incredible at writing children's books. But I know it's such a hard market to get into, so she self-published that one this year, and it's just fantastic. It's like got anti-bullying, it's got mum and daughter relationships and wrestling and like empowering young girls. So I just love it. It's awesome.
That sounds amazing. Any parents who are listening, it sounds like a must buy. Maybe before the call ends, if you could put the title of it in the comments, that way if anybody does want to pick it up, then they can. Okay, so actually that's going to lead me into one of my questions for Jen quite nicely, I think. So because you were just talking about the kind of theme of bullying. So that is quite a strong theme in your book, actually, Jen, isn't it? Whether that was kind of
Yeah.
Jo's experience at school or in the workplace, or the kind of coercive control with her ex. Is that, if you don't mind me asking, was that kind of important to you from personal experience, or something that you just thought the readers would relate to?
No, it was personal experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've encountered I've had a relationship with a sort of bully, coercive controller in the past, and I have experienced bullying in the workplace, and sort of very mild bullying at school, so nothing physical or anything like that. But I used to have really bad eczema, and I used to get teased an awful lot, and it just really has a knock-on effect on self-esteem. And so that's very much what I wanted to bring into Jo's story.
Yeah. And was it quite cathartic writing that, did you find,
Um,
or
yeah, I think
more
it
like
probably
torturous?
was. No, it wasn't torturous
Okay.
at all. But I could really relate to Jo, and I enjoyed writing her, and enjoyed writing the bit where she gets all empowered and starts to feel better about herself. I really loved writing those bits.
Oh, and I loved reading it. It had me like
Thank
whooping. I was
you.
reading it in the bath this morning, and I was kind of worried I was going to drop it, because I was like, yes. So no, I really loved that, and I thought you did it really well. And that's why I asked, because you could kind of tell that you were writing from experience, I thought there.
Yeah.
So Lucy, sorry, I told you all your questions are just going to be about Italy, basically.
Okay.
Your book just made me want to pack up and go over there immediately. So, very curious. Obviously, you do kind of talk about places to go in Italy and meals to have. So, for anybody who's curious who wants to head over there, dream day in Italy. Where do you go? What do you do?
You know what though? That is really, really hard for me, because my family are from the Amalfi Coast, but they're from a little tiny village called Priano.
Uh-huh.
So every time we go to Italy, and it sounds like I'm like, oh, every time we go, but when we go
Yeah,
there.
you just
So
go
when
there.
people are like, well, what do you do? I go, we sit around the table, we eat food, and then like we spend time with our family. So people are like, are you gonna go to the bars or the little clubs? I'm like, I don't think Priano. I think it has one club or something, like where maybe the young people go. But we never see any young people when we're there. So it's like, but I would suggest going to Amalfi, because it's absolutely beautiful. And we have a friend there, and she's incredible. Like, she's taken us around, like, because we would just go to the sort of specific places that our nana and granddad told us about, and we'd never kind of venture like further and things. So Amalfi is beautiful, and sort of basically from Naples to Amalfi, you've got like Sorrento, and then you go past Positano, and then Priano. And if you can do that kind of stretch, it's incredible. It's like, it's just beautiful, because it's just sea views and lemon trees and orange trees, and it's just gorgeous. But it really does kind of make you enjoy the simple things, though, because yes, there's lots of things that you could probably do and still go on like excursions and things. But when you just spend time around like a table and just like with people you love, or eating good food, it's like, that's what it feels like it's all about when you're there and stuff. So yeah.
If next time you're going, you need an extra, someone to smuggle in the suitcase, then
Yes,
I am available.
I will remember.
Thank you. So Jen, is Hebbleswick, is that how you would pronounce it? How would you pronounce it?
Yeah,
Hebbleswick?
Hebbleswick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it based on a real Yorkshire village?
Yeah, it's sort of based very, very loosely on Hebden Bridge in West Yorkshire. But it's probably a little bit smaller, but just as quirky.
But
Yeah.
was the sense of kind of community and having that small village feel quite important to you when you were writing it?
Yeah, because that's why. So I met my husband when we were living in London, and when we decided we were going to buy a house together, I said that I want to live in Hebden Bridge because of the community feel. So yeah, that's what I wanted to portray.
Yeah, and that comes across. That's one of the kind of most heartwarming aspects
Yeah.
of the book, I think, as well. So I really loved that about it, and I'll have to visit Hebden Bridge if it's similar. So this one technically is for you, Lucy, but I am going to open it up to Jen as well, just because I'm still obsessed with Italy. Last meal on Earth. Obviously, food is kind of one of the biggest themes that runs through your book, and I was just starving the whole time I was reading it. And I know, and obviously you've also written a cookbook, haven't you, with your twin sister, I think. Is it an
We have,
Italian
yeah.
cookbook? So it feels like I have to ask you what your last meal on Earth would be.
Well, I wish I could. I wish my nana and granddad could make it for me, because
Yeah.
all their food. That's what the cookbook is. It was recipes from our childhood.
Oh.
Oh, that's really hard. I would say like artichoke. I love artichoke. And then my nana and granddad used to like stuff them, and like you boil it, but then you can peel the leaves and eat the leaves, and then like eat the stuffing. And that's probably one of my absolute favorite recipes and favorite things. So I'd probably say something like that. And then maybe like mussels. They used to breadcrumb mussels, and they used to be just delicious as well. So it's very hard to pick one when it comes to like.
That's all right. Well,
very lucky growing up.
That could be a starter and a main course, basically. So we'll call that a meal.
Yeah.
Jen, doesn't have to be Italian food. Last meal.
I think probably a roast dinner. Yeah, I love a roast dinner. Sorry?
Yorkshire puds.
Yorkshire
Has to be
puds and really
surely.
good gravy and really good roast potatoes. Yeah.
Yes, all the good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, my husband would agree with you, but I'd go for the Italian food. I'm not going to lie. So, Jen, I have to know, obviously, what started your love of Scrabble? Is it just Scrabble, or is it any board games that you kind of love? Or
These days I probably play other board games more than I play Scrabble, to be honest.
Okay.
So when I was growing up, we played Scrabble and Monopoly and a card game called Uno.
Yeah.
And that was probably the extent of my Cluedo and Mousetrap and things like that. But that was the only games they were the only games I knew about. And then when I met my husband, he was massively into board games. In fact, he collects them. And yeah, so he introduced me to this world of other board games that I didn't know existed. And so these days I'm more into those games. But we play a lot of word games that I think would appeal to people that like Scrabble.
Oh.
So yeah.
I can see. Is it all the Scrabble boards that I can see in the background behind you there?
Lots of Scrabble boards behind, and a couple of other games that like there's one called Hardback, which is a bit like Scrabble, but slightly more complicated.
Oh, I can't even do Scrabble, so I'll leave it at that. And I guess that leads into my next question, which is obviously the dedication in the book is to your husband, who has a very impressive Scrabble score. Did Scrabble or board games actually have anything to do with the way that you met or got together, or?
No, we met on a dating app, and so no, that's not how we met. Although we could have done, because I'd actually joined a meetup group called, I think it's called London on Board. And that was actually, I think it used to be run by friends of his. So I never actually went to one of the meetups, but I kind of think if I had, then maybe I would have met him that way, but I didn't.
But it's fine. You did in the end.
And we did play, we used to play a lot of Words with Friends, which is very like Scrabble, and that's what Word Pals in the book, the app, was based on. So we used to play that an awful lot when we were initially dating, that when we were apart, you know, one of us would start up a game on the phone, and that was sort of, we'd do that quite often. So yeah.
I love that. That's a good origin story. So, Lucy, I've got to know, how do you feel about weddings in real life? Obviously, both of your kind of romantic leads are not such big fans.
It's kind of 50-50. Kind of 50-50. No, I think like each to their own. I think they can be absolutely beautiful. And then obviously there is the like kind of, I say extravagant, but there's that, if that's what you want to do as well, then it's like everybody can have their own, like it should be your day, so it doesn't matter. I don't know. It's like, yes, I was married a long time ago, so it's like I've been divorced. So, and it's like wedding. So I think that kind of inspired those feelings of being like, well, what was the point in that?
With that.
So I've been kind of that side of it.
Right.
But I obviously can appreciate the fact that they're beautiful days and like things like that as well. So I just had to channel different things for like when it's like you're in Andy's head, and then when you're in kind of like Charlie and Alex's mind of like, we want to celebrate, we want to like do all this. So yeah, I'd probably be like 50-50 again.
Okay, so if someone asks
say
you to
that, I'd
be
be like, really like cynical.
no, I think we understand. So if someone asks you to be maid of honor, is that your worst nightmare at this point?
No,
No.
I'd be like, I'd go out of my way to be like, no, we're going to make it special and stuff. So
Okay.
yeah,
Oh.
which is what Andy does. She just ends up in.
Oh, we lost you for a bit there.
But yeah.
Oh, there we go. I think you're back.
Oh, did I cut out?
Yes, you did. Oh, it might have been. Who knows who it was? Were you just? Sorry, living technology.
Oh, I don't know where it cut out. I was just rambling about the fact that yeah, like Andy, she doesn't want everything to go wrong. She really wants to be a good maid of honor, but it just things happen. So yes, so I very much like want to do a good job.
Okay, you'd go all in. Okie dokie, noted. And then, oh, I think that is it for questions from me. So I will have a little look and see whether we have some questions from people watching. Oh, okay. So we've got a couple here from Rima, and she asked, what's the best advice that you can give to aspiring writers? So I'll start with you, Jen.
So best advice for writing is probably to write what you love. So write the book that you want to read. That's what I'd say. But best advice in terms of getting published, which is something people always want to know about, is probably to grab every opportunity you can. Because I got published a slightly strange way in that there was an online auction, a charity auction, with a feedback session with an editor, and I thought, oh, that would be good, some proper feedback on my work, and I was lucky enough to win that. And that editor worked for Aria, and that's how I got offered the book deal, which is really amazing and not what I expected to happen at all. I expected to say, oh, you know, that bit's not good, that's no good, you need to work on that. And she did give me some things to work on, but then she rang about a month or 6 weeks later and said, yeah, we'd like to offer you a book deal. So and I think those opportunities like Twitter pitch competitions and all of those, they are out there. And yeah, well worth keeping your eye out and entering things like that.
That's amazing. And Lucy,
yeah, I'd say the same thing. Definitely, like, be you and don't feel like deterred. Like, write the books you want to write and enjoy writing them. But also, and I feel like it's like take your time as well, because like enjoy the process as well of like doing it. Because I know it's like when you have that end goal, it can be hard sometimes thinking, you know, sending it to a publisher. But it's like if you just put everything into the book and like do it the way you want to, then kind of think about that after, and then figure out, you know, where you send it to, and doing all the like submissions and things. But I was going to say, like, Jen, me and my sister started a YouTube channel way back, and that's when we were doing like book reviews. And so we kind of, the original the people who I originally got a book deal with, that was through kind of how we were doing reviews, and then because we got to talk to people and got to talk to editors, and we were, you know, reviewing lots of their books, I just kind of happened to go, I've written a book, can I give you this? And it was just kind of taking that opportunity, so don't miss those opportunities as well. I mean, it was a year or a year and a half till somebody was very kind and gave me advice, and like read the chapters and gave me advice, and it wasn't a year and a half later until like I actually was able to speak to somebody and say, well, I've worked on it, and send it back. But just kind of opening those doors for yourself and kind of keeping an eye out for what's going on like around you or in kind of the industry, and also don't be afraid to ask authors. Like, I know like we're chatting now, but at the very beginning I had Rebecca Raisin and like Holly Martin. I was like, you know, messaging them and saying, can I be cheeky, you know, can you read this or can you read that? And they were so incredible, and they would like give me advice and stuff. So it's a really nice community where I think everybody supports each other, you know, everybody wants you to succeed kind of thing. So sort of don't be afraid of like getting in touch with people as well. So if that can help.
Oh, that's
It's the most supportive community, isn't it? It's just because you'd think we'd all be in competition, but actually everybody is just so keen to help. And, you know, we spoke at the beginning of the call about female friendships, and I found so many wonderful new friends through being an author. It's just amazing. I think that's probably my favourite bit about it.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
I
true.
love that. Oh, that is amazing. I love, even as a reviewer, when you see the support that other authors give to other authors when they've got a debut coming out all over social media. They're always like supporting each other, and I just think it's incredible. Let's have a look. We've got a few more questions. So Breema's also asked, oh, how do you come up with a title for your books? So Lucy, if you want to go first on that one.
I'm very fortunate that all my books, the editors have been amazing, and have always asked for like my input and like asked me. But most of the time when they kind of sent me an email and have said, this is what we're kind of playing around with, I'm like, perfect. So I don't think I've ever gone, no, I don't think there's been one book that I've gone, no, I'm not really keen on that title, because then even if it hits me, like even Not My Superhero, it came back with because we were updating all like the books, and I think me and Bianca, we were like, right, so we've got Not My Superhero, and I was like, but then after like a few minutes, I was like, well, that makes perfect sense. It's exactly what the book is about and everything. So because I think it was a big change from like One Snowy Week in Spring Hollow, where it's like, oh, that's like all like cute and things. But then, so Bianca and like the people who come up with that in Aria and stuff, they're just fantastic. So I was just like, every book that they've told me, I was just like, no, that is perfect. There was a reason you do your job.
That's true.
It's fantastic. And I get excited. I'm like, that's brilliant.
Oh, like a little light bulb moment, like, yes, that's the perfect one. Is it the same for you, Jen, or have you had a little bit more back and forth? Be honest.
Well, the Little Board Game Cafe, I was really lucky. My friend Helen Hawkins, who I met on a writing course, an online writing course during the pandemic, she thought of the title, The Little Board Game Cafe, and her debut came out in the autumn, Concert for Christmas. So I'm really grateful to Helen, because that's just such a sweet title, and so yeah, that was really good. And I think Aria sort of, I think I called Love Letters, but Aria added on Hazel Lane, and I think Aria came up with the title for my book that's coming out in June. So yeah.
Oh, and we'll all be excited to see what it is. So the next question was from Shannon, which is, what is coming next for you both? So you've kind of hinted there, Jen, so if you want to maybe give a little bit more information, if you're allowed to.
Yeah, I think I am. So Second Chances at the Board Game Cafe is coming out in June, on June the 6th, and I think in the autumn, Christmas at the Board Game Cafe is going to come out. So yeah.
Oh, we love a festive read.
I know, I think it's exciting.
Amazing. And Lucy, I realised that you've got a little one attached to you, so I don't know if there's anything coming anytime soon.
No, I have nothing. Like I've started writing a new book, but it's kind of a very slow process, so we'll kind of see. I'm really excited about it, and I hope I can, like, you know, get it done and get it written. So because it's a lot of fun, so I will see. I'm hoping we can, like, you know, get something going. But yes, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, but we'll all understand. It takes a while at this point. We'll keep an eye on your socials. I think we had one more question in there. Yes, so Yaz has asked, what's one thing you hope readers take away from reading your book? Lucy, if you want to.
I hope when they're reading it, it just always makes them like smile and makes them happy at the end of the story, and like they can see the characters' kind of development. And like with Andy, it's a case of she just was very cynical at the beginning for love and like weddings and things, and then she grew up and she learned a lot throughout the book. But just in general, I hope it makes them smile. I hope it makes them laugh, and I hope as well they always, like, somebody can always find either themselves in somebody in the characters, and it makes them feel not alone, like there's just somebody there that they can kind of connect with, and it can make them happy. So yeah, just as long as it makes somebody smile or makes somebody laugh, then that means everything to me.
That's the important thing. Oh, I love that. And Jen, about you?
Yeah, probably the same. I hope people really enjoy them, but I must admit, I really like it when people message and say, "Oh, I just tried one of the board games from your one of your books." I really love that people are delving into games they might not have tried otherwise.
Oh, yes, that is great. Get them away from their phones for a bit.
Yeah.
Back into old-fashioned board games. Well, I think, let me just double check I haven't missed one. I think that was the last question. If anyone has one, I'm going to give you a minute. If you do have any other questions to pop it in, but if not, I'm going to let everybody get back to their evenings. Lucy, sorry, what you've just said to that answer has actually made me think of one more question whilst I just wait to see if anybody has. So obviously, your main character is queer. Was that because representation was important to you, or?
Yes, I feel like it was something that I started with Love Lessons, and it was kind of just like me finding myself in the process of, like I said, a few years prior getting divorced, and like being able to feel like you go on this journey and you just feel like you can kind of start expressing yourself and figuring out who you are, and just there was so much stuff going on in life, and it was just, I feel like I finally got to that point where it was just like I was just happy, and I just felt like you could be yourself. And then when I was writing Love Lessons, I was like, I really want, like, it just felt right to be able to finally like write a bisexual leading lady and feel like I could talk about it and have this like love story and everything. And then it just kind of felt important with like going into this one that it wasn't just that's one book that I'm going to do and be like, you know, it's like everybody, we exist, and like it's like everywhere. And in a way it's like being accountable as well for, I think I've always had them like in my other books as well, like different forms of representation. But it kind of made me feel like, well, no, I have to be accountable with it a little bit more, like where you have got a variety of different people. And so it's something that I think about consciously when writing my books now, but also not really. Like I just kind of like, you know, it's just like I'm just writing, and like that's what I want to write about, and like have that in it. So yes. So it did make me smile. I've loved being able to write like the bisexual leading ladies and lesbians and like a beautiful lesbian wedding and stuff. Like it just made me really happy.
I loved it too. I loved it. Well, I don't think we've had any more questions. So I will say a huge thank you to both of you for your time. I'm sure you have a little one that's desperate to get back to you, Lucy. And it sounds like you've got a puppy that needs a bit of TLC as well, Jen. So thank you so much to everybody who has joined. As I say, I'm pretty sure that if you keep an eye on the Head of Zeus and Aria's socials, I believe they were going to have a little giveaway going. So tell me off if I'm wrong. If not, I think they're going to have to now, basically, because I've said it. So sorry, guys. I hope that was the plan. So yeah, keep an eye on their socials, and hopefully there will be a giveaway for these lovely, perfect for spring, get you out of this groove, these brilliant uplifting books. Yeah, let's all do one last little, here we go.
Can I mention one thing before we go?
Yeah, of course, please do.
A week on Saturday, that's the 13th, it's International Scrabble Day, apparently. And it's also a year to the day since the Little Board Game Cafe came out. So I'm doing an event, another live event like this one.
Amazing.
Via the Romantic Novelists Association, so RNA Learning. It's completely free, but you do need to get a ticket, and it'll be talking a bit more about the book, but also talking about word games. And I'll be going, I'm hoping I can do it as a sort of play along, but it depends on how many people join in. So if anyone's interested, it's on the RNA Learning on Eventbrite. They have the tickets.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Have you got that somewhere maybe on your socials, if people forget?
I think I have, but I will make sure that I put it up tomorrow, if not tonight.
If anybody has a memory like mine.
Yeah.
But that sounds like great fun. So that was on the 13th.
The 13th, yes.
Oh, fantastic. And if I don't see you there, then happy first anniversary.
Yeah, thank you.
All righty. Well, it's been so lovely to speak to you both. And I hope
thank you for having us, Tilly.
Evening. Oh, thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank
you.
You too.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.